I personally love that there are gay dating sims in the world, and I love that there are games now that allow me to feel represented. Hi, hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Jer. Today we're gonna be ranking the main game datables of Robin Morningwood because we just finished a gameplay here on YouTube. If you haven't already seen that, you should check it out. I'm gonna put the link right below. It was a really good watch. I'm not including one of the datables because it makes me feel a little bit funny and I don't like him. And there's two post-game datables that I just didn't include here either, purely because I didn't get around to dating them. So let's talk about it. We got 11 really hot dudes in this medieval gay dating sim, which if you haven't already seen anything of it, just be aware it's very NSFW. Please don't go looking up this game if you do not want NSFW content. So without further ado, here we go. In the number 11 spot is Gregor. I put him here at the bottom because Gregor's a top. And as someone who is top identifying, two tops don't make a bottom. I am here for kink. I'm such a big fan of kink. Gregor's kink was a little bit more than I think I wanted to invest in. But water sports isn't really for me. Sorry about it. I do love that he's a woodcutter, and his minigame was probably one of my favorites of the entire game, but I just didn't really connect with him that much as a character. In the number 10 spot is Gart. Gart is the soldier trainer in town. He's a Viking, and he's just a generally pretty cool dude. He loves his grog, and he's drunk pretty much 24/7. My favorite thing about Gart is that when he's sober, he's a top, but when he's drunk, he's a bottom. I just don't really like him as a dateable. For me, Gart is like just a really good friend. He's someone you hang out with, you shoot the shit with, you have a good time gossiping about maybe some of the sloppy drama that's happening in town, and you know, you can watch a good show together and just kind of vibe. Gart doesn't really feel like someone I would want to date long term. Gart is someone that I'd want to be a really good friend with, and I think that's all right. In the number 9 slot is Giant Lloyd, and I struggled to put him this high, but I do actually really like Giant Lloyd. He's very cute. He's extremely handsome and sexy. He's a reader and he seems very sweet and like an aftercare king. But I don't stretch that much. Maybe in the universe, the main character's elasticity is more than what someone in real life might be. Me personally, I have a hard time with just little average dudes. A giant's not happening. So that is off the table for me. Even though Giant Lloyd is very cute, I cannot forgive how big it is. Nor will I. I did like his mini game though. It reminded me of Dead by Daylight because of the skill checks, and I appreciated that. I just don't think I can really get into him. Rather, I don't think he can get into me. Ayo. In the number 8 spot is Betten. He is a captain in the Morningwood military, and he's really overcompensating for a lot of his past trauma, which I really can identify with. Someone who is struggling really hard to deal with their masculinity and also trying to figure out their homosexuality while coming from a world where you really just don't do that. You're ostracized. And for him, he tries really hard to present super masculine and dominant because that's the way that he had to survive. I think once you get to know him, he's very sweet, but initially he's just really prickly and it's hard to get to know him. It's hard to invest in him. And on top of it, his mini game it's fun, but it's a little repetitive and it can be a little boring at times. I think Betten's really cool though. And I do appreciate who he is after you get to know him. In the number 7 spot is Tristan and Hector. So these are the twins. They guard the castle gates. They make sure that no one gets in that is not supposed to see the king. And they also make sure that people are safely brought into Morningwood. Damn, these dudes do a lot. Initially, I think it's really fun, the idea of sleeping with twins, right? You've got one on one side, the other on the other, and you just have like a really fun little spit roast situation. And that seems really cool until you realize that they're siblings. And then it doesn't seem fun anymore. And while the two of them don't play with each other, they exclusively play together because they're looking for someone who can complete their triad. Ugh, I don't know. It feels a little bit strange to me, and I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum, but I just don't know how much I can get into that. I don't think I would say no to twins looking for something like that, but I also don't think I would say yes either. On top of the fact that the twins are kind of boring. They're really about their job, which is fine, but they're a little bit too job-oriented for me and they don't really see outside of that box. And I need someone with more complexities. I need someone with more layers, not just two trickster dudes who like to cause a little bit of mayhem now and again and are looking for someone to play with them. Maybe separately. In the number 6 slot is Gilf Wizard Horace. I really like Horace. The first time around, I didn't pay much attention to him because by the time I got to him, it was kind of late game. Horace is chill. He has 2 friends, a cooking pot that he can turn any item into another item and transmute those. And he's got this scarecrow named Karen who actually were his pets several hundred years ago. He's a sentimentalist and he doesn't like to lose people. And that's why he transfused the essence of his pets into this pot and into this scarecrow so that he could live with them forever. He creates clones of himself so that he can routinely have fun with himself. And I think that's really fun. If I could clone myself, I would totally 69 with me and I wouldn't even apologize. As you get to know him, as you get to learn his story, he learns that immortality is not what he thought it was going to be and it's okay to let things go. It's okay to live his life with a temporariness and not permanence. And I think that's really important, that he grows as a character, that he doesn't just stay this stagnant person through his whole journey with you. By you getting to know him and him getting to know you, he realizes something about himself that no one has ever allowed him to see. He's always felt that it was important to stick around in perpetuity, but now he's comfortable letting go. Now he's comfortable and at peace with knowing that his life will come to an end and that the people that matter to him will eventually pass. And that's okay. It's a normal part of life. I do love how much he's into Dad Nut, and I think he as a character is really hot, and especially him being several hundred years old but not looking several hundred years old is kind of a turn on because he knows what he's doing. He ranks high for that reason. In the number 5 slot is Blacksmith and Bard Hanth. I really like Hanth. He's a cute little bottom who loves the work that he does at his forge, and I'm starting to realize that I have a type. Because Raphael in Coral Island is also a blacksmith who probably is a bottom. Hanth also loves to rock out. He does some really great music and plays occasionally for the town, setting up little mini concerts, and I think he's cool. I think his apron fits him snugly, and I really like his body. Maybe that's superficial, but hey, this is a game about literally having sex with dudes as many times as you want. And I think he's a cool guy. He's got a lot of sweetness to him. And not in a fruity way. He's just a sweet man and he wants to take care of you. He's kind of subby and I think I'm into that. Not to perpetuate the sub-bottom stereotype, but that's what his role is and I kind of love that. I think he would be nice for long-term dating. He seems like someone who would really take care of you and put your needs first, but never letting his own needs go to the wayside. Hanth is one of those people that wants to be involved in your life and wants you to be involved in his. And I think that's really cool when a man is interested in you and wants to share his hobby so that you can be just as a part of his life as he is of yours. And on top of it, he's super freaking attracted to you. In the number 4 slot is Silver Daddy Hubert, who works at the town inn and also acts as the town's postman. Hubert's got one of my least favorite mini games because I'm not a huge fan of matching anymore as I'm older and my memory is starting to fade and get worse as I creep slowly towards 40. But I really do like Hubert. He's a sweet guy who really just wants to take care of people. I'm realizing that I have a type. I like being taken care of, and that's why Hubert ranks high. He was a butler, so he's got a lot of training in proper high-class society like tea time. He cleans up after himself and others, and he knows how to cook. He knows how to make NB feel really good, and that's why I liked him. On top of the fact, I'm very into daddies, and I mean, who's not? He is the daddy of the game, and he's one of the first men that you meet, and he teaches you everything you need to know, and I love a man who's willing to teach me things. I liked his story of just sort of being a town pump, taking care of people where he can, and just really loving life. He doesn't have a ton of nuance or complexity as a dateable. He shares a lot of his past with you. It almost feels like he's looking to the past a little bit too much at times and not really focusing on the present. But then he has moments where he just sits on his balcony and reflects. I think overall Hubert has a lot of really good points to him. And the fact that he is literally the self-care and aftercare master really is very appealing to me, despite the fact that he's very sexy. In the number 3 slot, which really surprised me, is Grant. He's the captain of the king's army. He's extremely dominating. He is the definition of a dom, and kind of a selfish dom at that. And normally that would be a really big turnoff for me. I may be a top, but I'm a princess. And I'm the one who needs to be taken care of. And he's very much the type of guy that wants to be taken care of exclusively. Throughout his storyline, he recruits people to take care of his needs so that he can focus on his job because he's part demon and he's insatiable, specifically in bed. I don't love that, but I like his story. He wants to pursue a different life. He doesn't want to be in the position that he's in. He likes his job, but he longs and yearns for more. And I think a lot of people can identify with that storyline of feeling stuck wherever you're at and wanting more than that. He wants to be somebody else, someone who doesn't have all those responsibilities. And something about that storyline really draws me in because I feel like there's more to him as a character than this front that he puts on, that he's just this selfish dude who is trying to get his nut and move on in his day. Plus, his beard is powerful. I really like him as a character, and as I got to know him, he became one of my absolute favorites. I liked how his character resolve was too at the end, where he realized that everything he was doing was not who he truly was, and he wants to be better. He wants to figure out a way to live his life in that alternate way that he wants to, but in the now. And he actively works on himself to be better. In the number 2 slot is the fisherman Valdo. Now, I really like Valdo because I like his big titties. I'm sorry. I like his big cheeks. So sorry. I like that he's a verse king. Sorry. I like his story. Valdo I was really drawn to aesthetically initially, and the more you get to know him, the more you realize that he's just a big softie. Valdo had a tough life growing up because he grew up with a lot of expectations on his island where he was expected to marry a woman, do the heterosexual life, and take over the tribe. But that's not who he was, and that's not what he wanted. He was willing to risk everything to take care of himself and to not put some random girl in harm's way of needing to date a gay man who had no way of taking care of her. He puts other people's needs ahead of his own at times. But he is also very good at taking care of himself and making sure that his needs are met. And I think that's important. He thinks big picture, and not a lot of the men in this game do that. They're able to prioritize themselves and others in tandem with each other, and that's something that in real life men can't do. I enjoy Valdo's minigame, and while I don't like fish myself, I like that he's a fisherman. He's just a humble dude who lives a humble life, and he's not aspiring for anything more than that. I also love a guy who can cook. That's a really big turn on for me. And I just think Valdo in general is a sexy guy, and he's got such a sweet story. The fact that he lets you in on so many private moments and lets you see his soft, squishy, vulnerable side, where a lot of men wouldn't show that. A lot of men would just allow their trauma to fester and would never open up or share that with you. They don't allow you to be a part of that experience, to see their healing and their growth, or even just be vulnerable with you so that you know what's making them tick. And I think that's what's cool about Valdo as a character. And in the number 1 slot, if you watched my gameplay, you already know who I chose to marry. It's Orderic, the local town rockman. What is that even called? He's a builder, aquarist. What are rock people called? I don't know, but he's that. Orderic is so cute. I really love him. I love that your very first date doesn't even involve sex. I like that he takes his time getting to know you, that he wants to spend time with you and do genuine fun date things, but then is kind of a freak. And then immediately gets really shy. Like, I don't know what just came over me. I'm so sorry for that. I love a man who is kind of quiet, and unassuming, but then is just a beast when it comes to the bedroom. And that's our Derek fully. Or Derek to me is one of the sweetest options because he really seems to see you. Unlike a lot of the other men in the town, he doesn't see you as a piece of meat. He sees you as a friend, as a companion, as a lover. He sees you as an equal to him. He shows up in a lot of your journey to assist you and help you, and to really be there and be a part of your journey. Similar to Valdo, he lets you in to see those squishy bits, and he lets you see who he is as a person. And he doesn't try to hide that from you. I also love that he's a verse icon, and that makes me really happy. Because I don't always want to do the same thing all the time. Sometimes I want to swap it up. And I like that he's interested in those things. And with that, that has been my ranking of all of the men in Robin Morningwood. If you haven't already watched my gameplay, you should definitely go check that out. And if you haven't played this and you like NSFW gay simulators, check it out because this is a fun one. There's a lot of grinding, so just keep that in mind. And if you like other gaming content, check out my channel. I've got a lot of playlists on here with a lot of gaming. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the flip. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to click that like button. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Goodbye.